Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Solo ReacTalk. I am back from a long, well-deserved rest. I think it's what now, 2-3 weeks. So yes, it's good to be back, and I'm going to be reacting to two videos requested by Alpha Shocker for the Halloween season, if I can say that. Well, I think Halloween's on what, the 30th, right? 30th or 31st of October. So it's getting quite close. It's now the 29th of October. So yes, I'm going to be reacting to Amnesia, the Dark Descent review made on the MandaloreGaming YouTube channel, as well as Amnesia, a Machine for Pigs review made on the MandaloreGaming YouTube channel. Yes, it's a double hitter from MandaloreGaming. And remember, guys, if you want to check out my previous reaction to other MandaloreGaming gaming review videos, remember that the playlist card is going to be at the top right here. If you want to check out the original video as well as MandaloreGaming's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. Okay, let's start. 3, 2, 1, go.
Fresh off the Penumbra series, Frictional
Penumbra! Yeah, I like the story of Penumbra, I don't like the gameplay of Penumbra. The fact that you cannot defend yourself, you cannot carry weapons, well, you can carry objects, right? But you can't really kill any of the enemy combatants, or the, not zombies, but the hosts, you know, those that have been controlled and manipulated by what was that creature called again? The Turingant? I forgot how to pronounce its name. But yes, you know, the storyline was good, but the gameplay was not to my liking. You know, I like the fact that I can defend myself in games. You know, I can carry weapons, whatever it might be, even a chair, you know, to defeat an enemy. But in that game, it was focused mainly on investigation, stealth, and you know, you have to run away and you have to protect yourself in terms of misdirection. And I'm not really that patient. I'm not that patient, and I need something to defend myself. So that's what I did not like about the game. The storyline was good, but the gameplay was just not it for me. Yeah.
released Amnesia, the Dark Descent. And let's face it, you know what this game is, your dog probably knows what this game is.
I don't know about this game.
And that's because this is the game that arguably made YouTube Let's Plays explode into the mainstream.
Really?
Strange and magical time where your dad could forward you the Milky Ways clip.
Oh shit, I'm a bag of Milky Way.
It kickstarted an entire horror genre away from action, spawned countless
Maybe that's why I don't know anything about Amnesia. A game that's away from action, just like Penumbra, nah. You know, that's not my cup of tea. And probably YouTube also knows this. That's why I've never seen these games on my For You page, you know, or gameplay related to Amnesia or to Penumbra on my For You page. Yeah, YouTube knows what I like. It knows that I like action. And if there's no action in the game, if it's just stuck on mystery, solving puzzles, investigation, you know, running away, I'm not there.
imitators, and still gets the occasional update, not to mention all the custom stories or mods like Penumbra Necrolog. Its influence isn't going away anytime soon, and with good reason. So break out your finest webcam reaction face, and let's talk about the game.
What have I done? This is crazy. Don't forget. Don't forget. I must stop him. Focus.
You must stop who? What have you done? And what don't you want to forget?
My name is... I am Daniel.
Daniel? Okay.
Daniel's in for some classic German hospitality. It's 1839, and Daniel has woken up in Brennenburg Castle.
1839. Brennenburg Castle. Is that how you spell Brennenburg? I don't know how to spell Brennenburg, but okay. And then castle, right.
Mysterious fortress located somewhere in Prussia, and likely built as one of the Holy Roman Empire's many, many tollbooth castles. Daniel has no memory of how he got here or what he was doing here at all.
It looks like the castle has been abandoned. You know, there's even a hole in the roof.
Though after stumbling through the castle's foyer and witnessing a few Scooby-Doo episodes worth of supernatural events, he finally gets some answers, discovering a letter from himself.
A letter from himself. Okay. Don't be afraid, Daniel. I can't tell you why, but know this. I choose to forget. Try to find comfort and strength in that fact. There is a purpose. You are my final effort to put things right. So, you write to yourself that you are the only solution to put things right. What? Did you erase your memory? What happened? How is it that you write to yourself that you are the answer to the problems that you have been facing? Do you have some sort of mental problem, or what? What happened to you? Did you hit your head purposefully?
He has purposefully taken an amnesia potion.
Oh, you can do that? Okay, what's the reason? Why did you do that?
Daniel needs future Daniel to go to the castle's inner sanctum.
God willing, the name Alexandra Bernenberg still invokes bitter anger in you. If not, this will sound horrible. How can it instill bitter anger in you when you have taken amnesia potion? Go to the inner sanctum, find Alexandra and kill him. Okay. His body is old and weak, yours is young and strong. He will be no match for you. Wow. So, the past Daniel is asking the future Daniel to murder an old man. And he's not really giving you detailed reasons why. Wow.
And kill its Lord Alexander. Also, you're being pursued by a reality-shattering, unknowable force. Hugs and kisses, the former Daniel.
Okay, so you're on a mission to kill an old man, and the castle is haunted by some sort of supernatural entity. Wow. Got a lot on your plate, Daniel.
So it's a long crawl through a haunted castle, discovering its secrets, the fragments of your past, and all while keeping one step ahead of the nightmare shadow pursuing you, and Alexander's renowned guest services committee.
What was that? That looked like a zombie of some sort, or a shambling creature. Alright. Luckily, Daniel has written, on paper, I think those are his diary pages that have been ripped out of his book, diary book maybe. I don't know. But thankfully, Daniel from the past has been writing in some sort of journal or a diary about what has been happening in the castle. And therefore, the future Daniel will have a reference on, what's going on here and why do I want to kill an old man called Alexandra Bernenberg. I think he's the owner of the castle. Yeah.
Now, unlike Penumbra, which had 3 difficulty options, Amnesia only launched with 1, but a few years later, they added a hard mode. This is a significant...
Okay, hard mode. Enemies will spot you more easily. Tinderboxes and oil are harder to come by. Autosave is disabled, and saving your game costs tinderboxes. Losing your sanity will kill you. Hey! This is crazy. Okay, this hard mode sounds very, very difficult. Autosave is off. And anytime you try to save your tinderboxes, it's going to cost you tinderboxes. Okay? And losing your sanity will kill you.
Shake up to how you play, but I did beat both for this video. You definitely shouldn't make hard mode your first run, but I'll talk more about all that later on. So as you'd expect from the title, visually, Amnesia is a gloomy, moody game. And
yeah, very dark, very limited sources of light.
Yeah, the levels of darkness actually can hit about pitch black at points.
Wow. Like pitch black, like you don't see anything?
This ties into a big mechanical change that's been made since Penumbra, since there, if you were still long enough, you got some night vision. Amnesia is perfectly fine throwing you into the abyss, and again, hard mode will be a perfect example of that. See, visually, most horror games don't get this fucking black, because they do want players to be scared, but, you know, also able to see what they're doing. Because before this, the biggest mainstream game to have oppressive darkness at its core was Doom 3. There were plenty of sections where you had to rapidly shift between using your flashlight and using your gun, because otherwise, you actually could not see.
Wait a minute, the flashlight was not connected to the gun? Huh.
And this approach came with a lot of baggage already due to being a Doom sequel, to the point that the re-release gave you a standard FPS flashlight, which does ruin what it was going for. My point is, Doom 3 and 50 Cent Blood on the Sand weren't the levels we're hitting here. Your only tools are a lantern that you have to refill with oil and watch its capacity carefully.
Ah, okay. And then tinderbox?
And finding tinderboxes, which you can use to light up sources in the environment and stave off the darkness.
And if you play hard mode, the more times you save, the less tinderboxes you will have. Also oil. Wow.
Now the obvious penalty is without light, you're fumbling around in the darkness, can't progress or find items easily, and might bump into something nasty.
Yikes.
Which is a lot of potential frustration they're okay with the player having. Even Doom 3's flashlight was unlimited, you just had to switch over to it. That's because the plan here is that if you are in the absolute darkness scenario, you should be overflowing with tension instead of frustration. And that's
actually good, you know. In this type of horror filled game, if I can say that, and mystery, you want to have that sense of desperation, if I can say that. You know, you have to find tinderboxes, you have to find oil for your lantern. If you don't find these vital key components to your survival, you are in trouble, because there's no other light sources around that can just be switched on with the flip of a switch, you know. And darkness is your friend in this place. Your very close friend. A friend that will smother you the moment you are out of light sources. And now there's other creatures around here walking in the castle that can kill you. So it's going to give you that type of anxiety, that type of stress of making sure that you have these resources so that you can continue to push on into the game. You can't stay in one place for too long, because I don't know how long the oil is going to last in the lantern. I don't know how long the lanterns on the walls are going to last after you've, you know, used the tinder, what is it, sticks? I don't know. You know the lighters. Yeah. I don't know how long those lights are going to stay on the corridor. So you just have to keep moving. You have to keep looking for these resources, the tinderbox and the oil, and somehow you have to survive, because I don't think you can defend yourself in this game too. So yeah, it's going to be exciting for those who want to play it. Me, no. If I don't have a gun, if I don't have a sword, if I don't have a knife, if I don't have something, a chair to defend myself with, it just doesn't make sense in my mind.
That's where the sand.
And Daniel is expecting you to kill Alexandra. How is it that you can kill Alexandra but you cannot kill the zombies or whatever these creatures are in the castle? How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Even if he is an old man, you still gotta kill him somehow, with your bare hands or with tools that are around you. So you can't do the same thing to these creatures?
Any mechanic comes in to give it that extra kick over the edge. When Daniel witnesses something supernatural or unsettling, if he sees a monster and continues to stare at it, or is simply sitting in darkness, sanity will start going down.
Wow. So this just adds more impetus for you to keep moving forward. You know, not only for the resources, but also because the darkness will make you go mad. If you stay in the darkness for too long, your sanity levels go down. If you look at the creatures for too long, your sanity goes down. You just have to keep moving forward. Wow. And imagine this on a hard mode. Oh my gosh.
Has all kinds of visual effects, and really, Amnesia itself is kind of a post-processing lasagna. YouTube already struggles with darker games due to compression, and even if you aren't losing your mind, Amnesia has a lot of effects which won't help anything on that front. So if you want the authentic I'm about to faint vision experience, you'll have to play the game. Anyhow, becoming more insane warps and shifts your vision. You get lots of strange effects and filters, and even the game world itself can change. You can
That's a nice addition to the game. Yeah, that's a nice add.
hallucinate frightening events right down to monsters suddenly appearing and vanishing. You'll find more disturbing scenes in the castle, and the mundane can become twisted. Call of Cthulhu has a long shadow, and Amnesia has a lot of neat sanity effects. When it gets bad enough, it adds a kind of floaty input lag effect to all of your controls. Like your vision is tunneling and you're on the verge of passing out, which you will when it hits 0. You can't move for a bit, and the loud thud will attract enemies. But even before that, you're warned that your sanity getting too low, or looking at enemies too long, will make it easier for them to spot you. So instead of going, "At least the darkness is hiding me," the game has said it's making you more vulnerable, and it will just keep getting worse. And as the screen is warping around and you're hearing stranger things, you definitely believe it. You can't stare down the monsters all day anymore because just looking at them gives them power. They'll make you crazy, and being crazy makes you dead. You only regain sanity by hanging out in the light or accomplishing tasks. They get more literal with it sometimes, but it's an amazing way to keep up the idea of don't let them see the monster. You can hide in the dark, but not in a way where observing gives you an advantage.
That previous video or snippet right there with that creature, was that from Penumbra? I think that was from Penumbra. I could be mistaken about that, but it seems very similar.
You want to take occasional glances at the bad man to not hit your sanity too much, and between that and all the distortion effects, you don't have a solid look at what's actually hunting you, only glimpses of some shambling creature. The game mechanically benefits you from looking away from its threats, and that helps build up tension. And sure, one of their designs is very famous now, which is what makes it all the more impressive. Their base designs are already great as
Oh my gosh.
twisted human forms.
You know, this reminds me of Dragon Age. Dragon Age Origins. When you were entering into what's that castle, the castle name again? I forgot the name of the castle. Oh gosh. I think it's Kalen Castle. I can't remember. It was a castle that was controlled by a demon, and the demon was existing in a child's body. I just forgot the name of the child. I haven't played that game in a long time, guys. I'm sorry. But the zombies that were inside that castle, these like shambling, walking zombies. Yeah. These zombies in this game remind me of the zombies in Dragon Age. Really, they just remind me of them. I don't know how do they sound like. I think we're still going to get to that point where, you know, MandaloreGaming will give us a snippet of how they sound like. But the way they look, the way they're walking, it just reminds me of the shambling zombies in Dragon Age Origins. Yeah. I just forgot the name of the castle, the name of the kid, but I remember there was a demon, you know, possessing this child, and it was also resurrecting the dead to become its shambling zombie army inside the castle, and you had to clear it out. Yeah. If you guys have played Dragon Age Origins, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, okay? Yeah, alright, let's continue.
But it's still one of those games where knowing the monster doesn't make it much less scary. Well, except if you look at some of their old concept art.
Pirate.
As for the environment itself, Brennenburg is a fantastic haunted castle. It can be cramped and claustrophobic, but equally ornate and regal at points.
I think the ornate and regal points are on the exterior of the castle, like on the outside of the castle, but the deeper you go in, the darker it becomes because there's no windows and the corridors enter into different locations, and that's where the dark areas are. But then on the outside of the castle, or towards the outside of the castle, that's where you'd see the glass, the tall pillars, you know, carrying candlelight chandeliers or other forms of light sources, and I think that's the safer places. Sorry, alarm clock. Yes, safer places. But then the moment when you go deeper into the castle, it becomes more dangerous. Yeah.
With its shields and eagles, it's clearly the castle of a Prussian lord, but sometimes that influence melts away to something more strange.
What the hell is going on here? Is that like a sacrificial table? Why is this taking me back to Skyrim? It's taking me back to Skyrim. Oh my gosh. That cult that eats human beings. I forgot what they're called again. Neferi? What was the Daedra prince's name again? I forgot. Was it Nefri? Nifra? I forgot. But yeah, a group of cultists who eat human beings in the Reach. Yes. They have their own little hideout where they get people, coerce them or maybe drug them to sleep, and then they bring them to this table, and then, you eat them.
And ancient. Even the
Oh, definitely. This is taking me back to Skyrim. I'm sorry. Let's continue.
portions of rooms. Some are unnaturally large and empty. Others have bizarre decor or are being used for strange purposes. Parts of the castle that were made to be cozy and accommodating in their prime still feel unnatural. And the glimpses you can take outside are just buried in fog and isolation. The castle has precious few areas that actually feel safe, and even these have something otherworldly.
What the hell is this? And what's with the legs? Did you guys see that? Oh my gosh. Okay.
About them. I appreciate it because obviously it's a creepy castle on its own, but the more you really investigate some rooms, the more uncanny things you're going to notice. And I'm not saying Amnesia's horror is subtle. The moment you start the game you get hit by a Category 5 ghost hurricane, but it's good at sprinkling details you might not notice at first, or get packed into the back of your brain beyond the.
Man, there's a lot of skeletons in this place. What has Alexandra been doing in his castle? I think maybe there might be a valid reason for Daniel to kill Alexandra. I mean, what is going on in this place? The sacrificial tables with blood is still spilling on the floor. And there's more blood in the kitchen area. And now we're seeing skeletons. Ugh.
Obvious. It's a visually atmospheric game, but one of those that's pushed to the next level by the sound design. From the moment you enter Brennenburg, Amnesia is piling you with it. It's like something horrible is happening in the castle every single moment if you're listening carefully enough. Not that it's true, but even the quiet moments have so much layered into the soundscape. The wind through the hall.
All I see is dust in this place. I see a lot of dust. There's no feather duster. There's no one that's been maintaining and cleaning this place. I just see dust. Oof.
Wooden creaking, the hum of some distant machine, and every so often, a sound that tells you the shadow is still in pursuit of you. Even when the game is not actively trying to scare you, every bit of the sound is building intrigue and tension.
Wait, what's that? Are you sure someone's not running after you? Did you guys hear those footsteps? I'm not crazy. I heard them, okay? We all heard those footsteps. Someone is behind you. Turn around. Why does it have this creaking sound like you're on a rowing boat or a wooden boat, you know? Oh, this place. Is someone eating nuts?
And when the sound is trying to scare you, Jesus Christ, they're good at it. I think Amnesia's sound design is the absolute heart of what makes it so scary for people.
Okay, I don't know about that sound clip, if it was scary. I'm not sure. Yeah, that one, that wailing sound, that no, I'm sorry. That was not scary at all. The other little sound bites that we hear when you're walking around in these corridors, these dark corridors, that's scary. Especially with the footsteps, because I know I heard footsteps, like someone was running towards Daniel, you know. The question is, were they running towards him, or were they running, from behind Daniel? That's what was scary. And then, of course, eating of the nuts, some sort of crackling sound, yeah, that was scary too. But this, no, I'm sorry.
Just playing the game, the ambient effects are great, but mainly quiet. When there's music, it's slow and suspenseful, and mainly blending into the background sounds. Music only comes to the front when it's telling you more about the story, you're in danger, or you've escaped danger. The most memorable tracks in the game come after you've barely escaped with your life. The calming music and release from Amnesia's usually oppressive sound design is your reward.
And the light. And the light. It's also a reward. Because look at the glass windows. You can see the light coming in. The candle chandeliers. Light also shining down. Yeah.
The sound and music is always building up, and it either lands here, or it goes to the chase. In Amnesia's most hostile areas, they amp up the sound in variety, but not in volume. There's more random scraping, or maybe a footstep, or a sound you can't quite recognize. Then they'll mix in some more prominent, scarier sounds. It's not a loud bang to make you jump. It doesn't have to be, and they don't want that. The truth is, cheap jump scares are bad for two reasons. The first being, it's not lasting horror. If I drowned out all the sound and play a big... all I did was trigger the part of your caveman brain that says, watch out for tigers.
Yeah, essentially just be prepared, keep your eyes open, keep your ears attentive.
And then you know there's no danger. It also means all the tension you built up to that point is just gone. That wasn't Freddy Fazbear, it's just my fucking cat or whatever. All of that stress you're building up internally gets released. Do you want your audience to feel that when a plank has fallen over, or when the monster is revealed? Amnesia is so effective because of its restraint in this area. It takes a long while in the game until you even glimpse a monster, and because you're likely playing so carefully and quietly, even longer until you're chased by something. Even Penumbra didn't wait this long before showing its hand. And coming back to play Amnesia, I thought my heart rate wouldn't go above resting because I'm familiar enough with it. But they're so damn good at how they pace their scares that it still got me at a few points. Instead of wasting it on a cheaper scare, they still tickle the tiger part of your brain, but the one that says, "The tiger is in pursuit." Because Amnesia has few enemy types, which you barely see clearly, then you hear their warning cry cut through everything.
Was that an image from from Gabella's Dangerous Hunts? I think so, yeah.
It's clear, it's strange, and then they see you.
Oh, the music. Ah! Oh gosh.
The truth is, that fucking siren is the real monster. After quiet, dread-inducing exploration,
And it builds up. It just gets louder and louder and louder. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Yeah, this is actually taking me back to what was that game called? Metro Last Light. Yeah, Metro Last Light. Yeah, sorry. Metro Last Light with Artyom, hiding in the shadows, trying to keep himself concealed from the enemy combatants. And he has to take out the light sources to make sure that nobody is able to see him. Because if someone sees him, then you hear some loud siren, or was it a loud trumpet? I think it was like a loud trumpet, yeah. And that would kind of spook you as well, because you're being found out by the enemy combatants. So it's kind of giving me that type of feeling here with this game, where when these creatures look at you and they're chasing after you, the music just gets louder and louder because you've been caught. So yeah, scary.
Hearing that violent siren spin up is incredibly alarming, and I want to emphasize it spins up, and it'll wind down when the monster loses sight of you.
Yeah, just like what I've heard from Metro Last Light, and also other games. I'm just can't put my finger on which one specifically, but yeah, it's a good addition to the game.
Even this isn't a sudden loud sound, it has a build-up to it. The monsters and the sounds are borrowing some pages from Silent Hill, but it's so simple and so effective. I know what the monsters look like, I know what the trick is, but even now, on a fresh playthrough, being chased by the monster those first few times still makes me feel a way that few horror games do.
And because you can't defend yourself, it's even more scary. It's even more scary, and that's one of the reasons why I don't want to play this game. Because I can see this creature is chasing after me. I can't defend myself. I have to be running and panicking, looking for places to hide. I can't do that. My heart... The stress, guys. No, I can't handle it. Oh gosh. God, run!
They save their most intense sounds for when they'll be the most effective. It's just that easy. As for the voice acting, it's a small cast, but excellent. The writing itself conveys that Daniel is curious and a bit naive, but his delivery is so polite and gentle that it fills in the blanks that outside of the events of this game, he's likely a good person. You get audio flashbacks where he comes across as a decent person and over his head. Meanwhile, Alexander sounds like Dracula at a social event. He's refined, intelligent, but there's a clear underlying menace. And he delivers every sentence like he's kind of toying with you and knows something you don't.
Alexander, is it inside the castle?
In a manner of speaking. Come, bring the lamp.
What are we hearing? Is it from the past? Or is it happening right now? Is Daniel telepathic? Or is it Alexandra who's telepathic? Or are we just listening to something from the past?
You've been to the refinery, have you not?
I don't believe I have. Is it connected to the... what did you call it?
The inner sanctum.
Definitely it's the past. Yeah, he's remembering the past.
My most precious chamber, Daniel. And it lies well beyond the refinery. In fact, it lies beneath the very stone of Brennenburg.
Now there's a voice you can trust. As for the gameplay, it's fairly straightforward. For starters, it has the same kind of physics controls as the Penumbra games. You can physically pick up and throw most objects,
but you can't kill any of these zombies with whatever you're throwing. You're just throwing, you know.
Searching a desk or wardrobe will mean physically opening each drawer, and of course you'll need to physically push and pull doors. Once again, it adds some physicality to the world and unique solutions for puzzles, and will be much more difficult when the Prussian penetrators are after you. There's also no combat at all this round. The most you can do is throw an object to distract a monster, or throw an object at one, which might make them stumble for half a second or so, but you're not killing them.
Listen to that, you're not killing them. Huh?
Sneaking and peeking is the name of the game here. You find items you need, solve puzzles in your way, and try to do it all while keeping your organs on the inside. When it comes to the puzzles, they're even more straightforward than Penumbra's, and very little of them have moon logic. You still have an inventory for carrying tinder boxes, oil, health potions, and items you need, but many puzzles don't require aspects like item combining. More than anything, it's a scavenger hunt to find what you need to progress, and then you do the puzzle in the game world itself. And again, Penumbra had these too, but it now leans way more into solving the puzzle inside the environment.
Now imagine you have to be solving puzzles, you have to be looking for items in the dark, you know, with limited resources, light sources, you know, with the oil and the tinder boxes. Man, this is going to be difficult. This game, not only is it scary, but it's extremely difficult.
There's no off-putting item combining, and generally the puzzles are simple. Instead, the pressure comes from not getting caught doing all this. For example, Brennenburg has the most reviled, evil storage room in Germany. For back then anyways. There is hardly any natural light to speak of. Alexander's finest are actively on the prowl, and you're looking for parts for an elevator. Having to crawl through hostile territory and retrieve something while you're there makes for some great sequences. If you get caught and die, you're thrown back to your last save. You can save manually, but I would recommend sticking with the game's autosaves.
Now imagine on hard mode, you can't autosave. And the more you save, the less tinder boxes and oil you're going to have. And you get killed when your sanity goes low. Oh wow.
Pretty rational for where it triggers and is rarely far too back to be annoying. In contrast, sometimes you complete a task and instead of relief, a monster will come in to check what you've done. Amnesia sadly gets more predictable for this as it goes on. Having one come through the wall or rise from a pile of debris or somehow have been in the room the whole time could have been a shakeup. But instead you hear them coming from a decent while away, have time to hide somewhere, they'll break the door down, look around, and then take off from the level. Even a little remix would be welcome, like one coming back into the area to double check, but as is it has you scrambling the first time or two, and then you just start expecting it. If nothing spawns in, you just move along. Only being able to run and hide here does work because it's a shorter game. When you feel like the dance might be getting old, you're likely 6 or so hours into the game near the end, and not something like 12 hours in. The castle has enough variety, and the story is intriguing enough to keep you going. It also helps that they save their strangest visuals, developments, and areas until that final stretch. So it's not more pure Scooby-Doo castle, it begins to make you wonder again.
Oh my gosh. What's going on in this castle? Alexandra, what are you doing?
It's a solid, well...
And what is that meat flesh stuff webbing on the wall? Oh my gosh.
Well-paced horror adventure. Which brings me to hard mode. This one is extremely reliant on you knowing the game, and it can feel surprisingly different. For starters, tinderboxes. Fucking forget about them. This is a war and you're rationing. The game will barely spawn any, and there will barely be any oil for your lantern. You now use tinder boxes to save, which means knowing where the problem areas are. Now, I'm not going to say it in this video, but
the way the zombie was like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
there's a fairly well-known secret to Amnesia's sanity system. Well, if you thought it wasn't doing quite enough for the game, now when it hits 0, you just drop dead. And how you can tell you're in trouble is incredibly vague below 25%. You only know that I'm extremely mentally ill and I'm fumbling through darkness. You will scrounge for any crumb of light to stave off the madness, but not tinderboxes because that's your save. You'll never truly catch me, mutant. I've already shit myself to death. I cannot stress enough how at risk you are this campaign. That example earlier, I had my lantern out but something spooky happened there so it just killed me. You must avert your eyes from all sin. If you hear a scary sound, you look at your feet. It's no longer a pile of disadvantages, it's game over. And because of your lack of light, it means you'll still need to crawl through near pitch black areas. Only pulling your lantern out for a moment or so to stop the sanity drain and see what you're doing.
And like I've stated before, you just have to keep moving forward. You can't stop for more than 2 seconds. You just gotta keep moving forward. Especially in hard mode, as the darkness surrounds you, at all turns. And you have to make sure that you preserve the resources that you have. You just have to just keep moving forward. If you see the creatures, you just move forward. If you see something scary, you move forward. If you're about to die, you still have to move forward, no matter what.
Lacking a tell for imminent death by crazy, like a choking sound, makes the beginning especially frustrating because there's a surprising amount of areas you can die in. Areas that don't need any monster. But once you do start getting your strategic save points up and have to go through the game without tinder boxes or much of a lantern, it does make some sections even tenser than before with all that progress hanging in the air. It's a fun way to replay the game if you're okay with suddenly dropping dead sometimes. So that leaves the story, and if you don't want spoilers, go to here.
I'm here to stay.
Daniel's part in everything began on an expedition in Algeria where he discovered a mysterious orb. When he touched the orb, it completely shattered, and while he kept the pieces, he couldn't reassemble it.
Was there something inside the orb? Was it this supernatural entity that's now inside the castle? Is that what was inside the orb? Was the orb a prison?
They seemed to shift and change on their own and never came together correctly. When he returned to London, he consulted many
I feel the need to continue this journal, even though it was intended for my journey to Africa. This must be something very important. I just know it. I've taken it upon myself to piece the orb back together, but it's been more difficult than one might think. The pieces are behaving strangely. They seem to change color, shape, and texture, but ever so slightly.
experts on the orb, but they didn't have much information. To make it worse, each he consulted would turn up horribly eviscerated a few days later, and he learned the same thing happened to the rest of the expedition in Algeria. What Daniel could find out was that the orbs appeared to have great power and symbolism in human history. But there was nothing concrete until, after a night of nightmares, he reassembled the orb in some kind of fugue state. He threw out lines everywhere, and his only promising response was from Alexander of Brennenburg, who said he knew exactly what was happening. Arriving at the castle, Alexander seems incredibly promising. Alexander's an educated man about these things, and many others. An uncanny amount of others. Daniel even compares him to Leonardo da Vinci, and it seems appropriate. The castle has advanced machinery for the time and even more wondrous things below. Alexander explains that the orb is supernaturally powerful, but by touching it, he's invoked the wrath of the Shadow, which is
the Shadow. Okay. And like I asked before, was this shadow inside the orb and it was released when Daniel, touched the orb, or what? Where does it come from? How does it just appear and focus on Daniel?
some kind of force that trails those unable to wield the orb's power, and that's what's been obliterating everyone in Daniel's path. It's slowly trailing behind Daniel, but will eventually catch up. To ward it off, he'll need to follow Alexander's instructions. This would get gruesome. As a baron, part of Alexander's duties included sentencing and punishing prisoners.
Oh my gosh, it's one of those torturing devices, where they would put you into some sort of iron-casted bull, or maybe another form of creature, and then they would use fire to burn it up while you're inside it. You'll be slowly being cooked alive, essentially. Yeah, oh wow.
which included brutal forms of torture. Alexander assures him that these are despicable criminals, and the process is needed to ward off the shadow.
How do we know that these people are despicable criminals? And even if they are despicable criminals, you don't have the right to do this, Alexandra. You don't have the right. So, what are you doing? And for what purpose?
The process extracts something called vitae from its victims.
Vitae. And what do you need with this vitae?
It's something like an adrenaline where the more fear and suffering a person experiences, the more can be drawn out from their blood. Alexander would even give victims amnesia potions so they wouldn't be used to the situation.
My gosh. And that's the same amnesia potion that Daniel has been taking to forget the past. And Alexandra is using this potion to make sure that the people who he is torturing forget their experiences, forget the pain that they've gone through, and then they're going to, experience that pain all over again, just to create more of this vitae substance. Nah, Alexandra, even if these people are criminals, you don't treat criminals this way. No.
The man has an entire methodology of torture to pass down to Daniel. Killing them outright is no good for this process of fear extraction. And on a meta level, this note is basically a design document for the game.
The point of presentation is to infuse terror. The human mind is extremely efficient, as it will trigger itself into greater fear.
Show and imply what's going to happen. Avoid taking a step too massive so the whole process can be sustained. Apply the technique in small doses with room for the person to settle. As long as the person is suffering, it's making vitae. Only with careful performance will the victim yield maximum effect. So there's an extra
sick bastard
fun layer to that. But even as the game goes into this process, it doesn't go full speed into gore. There are plenty of torture devices on display, descriptions of how they were used, and audio flashbacks of them in action, but the game never actually shows you anyone being tortured outside of some tasteful diagrams.
I think that would make the game even more of an age-restricted type of experience, to the point where it might not even be sold in other countries. If they showed us how people are being tortured here, I don't think maybe even the gaming publisher would allow it to go to the public. Yeah.
The show doesn't slow down even when they tell you exactly what they're doing. Daniel keeps crossing moral lines as he tortures prisoners. He does it when it's clear their crimes aren't that dire, he does it when it's clear they're not criminals at all, and eventually he's helping Alexander's servants kidnap children in the dead of night. So
I can see why you wanted to take this amnesia potion, Daniel. I mean, what you and Alexandra are doing here is monstrous. It's evil. And this is all in the pursuit for you to fix this orb and to also save your own life from the shadow. No.
the Dark Descent is metaphorically Daniel's fall as a person, and literally you crawling through some basements and corridors trying to kill a sauerkraut. Alexander has manipulated Daniel, but why? Well, according to the strange cylinders he keeps some thoughts in, Alexander is not from this world. He's been masquerading as a line of Prussian barons for centuries. He's somehow stranded himself in our world. It's barely elaborated on where he comes from, but that adds a lot of mystique to it.
So he comes from another dimension? Another universe?
He's outright frustrated having to use steam engines and not being able to access tamed lightning. He's
Wow.
been designing and building a machine over centuries to try and imitate something called a traveler's locket. Daniel's not even his first human help on this. Centuries before, Alexander employed the help of Heinrich Agrippa, who was an occultist at the time.
Centuries ago. Man, he's really old. Heinrich Agrippa. Oh, the pen. Oh no.
He and his student Johann Weyer were
Johann Weyer.
actively aware of Alexander's situation and trying to help him escape back. While details aren't clear, somehow Wire opened a portal and made it out. Alexander was left behind furious, and by using Vitae, has kept Agrippa alive in his basement for centuries.
Wire, why did you go to another dimension? What did you think you're going to find there that would be more fulfilling than staying in this universe? What if once you enter into that universe, you die on the spot? What are you doing?
Wire even sends a message back saying that he can help Alexander escape.
Oh, he's alive.
But he needs him to release Agrippa to be able to help. But because he has no guarantee of a follow-through, Alexander has refused. He'd rather slowly acquire Vitae to come back through his own method.
Wait a minute. Agrippa and Wire have been helping Alexandra centuries ago. And Agrippa is still alive right now? What's maintaining his life? Is it the Vitae blood, or is it something else? Because he's human, right? Huh.
What's interesting and tragic is that Alexander doesn't come across as being pure evil. He tried to make artificial Vitae but had no progress. He tried to extract some from animals, but there was barely a trickle.
It's no excuse. It's no excuse. If you can't get Vitae from animals or create a synthetic one, it doesn't, justify you taking and abducting people from villages or taking people who you claim are criminals and then torturing them in this place, making them drink this amnesia potion and then repeat the process all over again. And we've seen the bones. We've seen the dead bodies inside this castle. No.
Maybe at some point he really did only torture criminals, but that process was too slow.
I don't believe that they're criminals. I don't believe that. No.
Whatever he is, his people consider themselves far above humans. So you could just say he's pragmatic, but he seems genuinely hurt and betrayed by Agrippa and Wire's actions. And his desperation to go home is fueled by him having a loved one waiting for him. He doesn't only view people as insects, he's aware that what he's doing is terrible. With Daniel, he was partially honest in how the orb and shadow works. But he's only using the orb and Daniel to get back home. Daniel's fate is ultimately to be consumed by the shadow, and before that, Alexander has ruined who he is. He even feels tempted to tell him the truth before he pulls it off, but also feels uncomfortable at the evil he's seen in Daniel, which he doesn't acknowledge that he's the cause for, which could be some denial and buried guilt. But he does tell Daniel, who instantly launches his plan to murder him. Daniel blames Alexander for absolutely everything because it's the only way he can cope with what he's done. And beyond homesickness, Alexander did feel a time constraint to intensify his methods. The real warding can only do so much, and if he wants to use the orb, the shadow will be a problem. He had his servants reinforcing the castle to prepare for its spread. And on the human end, he realizes the jig is up and the rest of the Prussian council realize he's some kind of freak immortal. It's only a matter of time until they actively come after him. The shadow is on his doorstep ripping his servants apart. It's all gone to hell. It feels like there could have been some other way for things to not turn out so horribly. But everything was set in motion long ago and you're just there to end it.
Tell me, is everything nice and clear now? Am I the villain?
Yes, you are, Alexandra. Or is it Daniel talking? Both of you guys are villains. Your reasoning for wanting to do this, either to go back home or to save your own life when it comes to Daniel, it does not absolve you for what you people have been doing here. You both need to be arrested. I don't know if that's going to happen, but you both need to be arrested.
The end of the game gives you three options. You can let Alexander go home and be consumed by the shadow.
Your sacrifice won't be forgotten. You will be celebrated forever.
You can ruin his ritual, and for trying to use the orb's power, the shadow will consume Alexander. It will spare Daniel for this trade-off, who considers himself redeemed.
And what gives you the right to say that? How do you just proclaim yourself to be redeemed after all that you have done? No.
I gave them that awful man. I did the right thing.
or go with the plan that Wire offered to Alexander and send Agrippa through the portal. It appears like everything collapses and the shadow consumes you both, but there is some hope at the end.
Don't worry, Daniel. It will be all right.
It is nice to have multiple endings this round.
There's no ending where all of you die, because I still want Agrippa to die. I want Daniel to die. I want Alexandra to die. I want, what's his name again? Wyra to die. I want all of you guys to die for what you've done here to these people.
Because letting Alexander go and making everything he did in the entire game pointless is the bad ending, there is enough to him that someone might sympathize with his cause, even if he is a fucked up torture vampire.
I don't sympathize with him. Not one bit.
Daniel's escape is considered the good ending, but it almost comes
Who proclaims that as a good ending? Not me, that's for sure.
across to me as too good to be true. He delivers his lines more like he's trying to convince himself that everything's alright now. It is a bright light, but an uncertain future. And the uncertain future Agrippa offers does seem more interesting. Also because, again, I'm not sure how Daniel ever returns to normal after all he's done. All the endings make you linger a bit about all that happened to get there, and I can't ask for much more than that. But they did give more with Amnesia Justine. This was a free update for the base game. Once again, you're playing as someone waking up from amnesia, this time being tested by a woman named Justine across various phonographs. The best way I can describe it is, it's like a cross between Much Ado About Nothing and Saw. How you solve puzzles will decide the fate of 3 individuals. And you can replay it for different endings, which is fine since it's barely a half hour. It's a short but interesting story about a family's dynamics and dealing with loss. But it also has an incredibly strange time capsule. If you remember, Penumbra was not shy about its Half-Life influence. In Justine, you can find a fancy new projector with a note that came in it with shipping. From AS Inc. in Boston, Massachusetts. After you've been running through tests with a disembodied female voice telling you what to do, this add-on was made to promote Portal 2.
Alright. Interesting.
Urgent, is it?
Not really. It's already years late. I just thought they should know. I'm still alive.
Alright then. So that was Amnesia The Dark Descent, and it still holds up. While I do miss how Penumbra had and then removed combat for some interesting effects, Amnesia is still great at what it set out to do. It started an entire wave of horror games with no combat. A lot of them fell on their face, which does kind of put this game in the same category as Halo, where a game really nailed what it was setting out to do, but because of all the imitators, the base game itself can get a bad reputation in some circles. This one exploded into popularity for good reason. It's extremely coherent and well-paced. It's atmospheric and has a good story and great delivery. It's a great game for an evening, and it should only be about $3 for the next while in the pinned comment if the goblins get back to me in time. I hope you've enjoyed this Nightmare Before Christmas. There is plenty to come in the new year, and I'll see you then. Did I watch the Game Awards? Yeah, it was like watching... That's where I would insert an ad break because too many ads. It's shitty to have so many rapid-fire awards, not let Neil Newman finish his speech or Galarian people. Just kind of shameful. It felt like groveling to Hollywood over celebrating games. Did I play the new Armored Core? Yes, and I clicked many missiles. But outside of 2 fights, it felt like maybe the easiest Armored Core game I've played. It could be the older ones rolled me over when I was younger, but I'd have to go and play again. Have I been surprised in a game to the point I broke something? Yeah, I leaned back in my chair, or like, I twisted it hard, and the cable, the 3.5 jack to the headphone to the computer completely broke off.
Yeah, I broke a controller by mistake. I was so excited. Which game was it? I think it was Heavenly Sword. Yeah, I think it was Heavenly Sword. And it was the final mission, the final, part of the game. Fighting against... Oh gosh, I forgot the characters now. But if you guys have played Heavenly Sword or you know of the game, then you know of the main antagonist and the protagonist. Yeah, I was fighting that final battle. I won after so many tries, like for 2 days straight, trying to defeat this one person. And once I finally achieved that, I threw the controller on the floor, and it kind of got a crack, and I had to, get a new one. But yeah, it's happened before.
And I was either playing AVP 2 or AVP Classic, an alien just jumped to the screen and scared the shit out of me. It wasn't this big set-piece moment or anything, I just got surprised and my headphones got owned. But that was a few years back, and I've never thrown a controller in my life. Not that I haven't felt compelled, I just baked it in that I would not be able to afford to replace a controller. And that never went away. Also, I have done a bit of Amnesia modding, and it's fun.
The backwards man, the backwards man.
We can live like kings!
40 million fucking blood
Okay. Yeah, guys, that's it with Amnesia, the Dr. Sent review, made on the MandaloreGaming YouTube channel, requested by Alpha Shocker. Yes, the storyline is interesting, very dark, very morbid, especially after seeing what's been going on in this castle. The characters, Alexandra, Daniel, Varna, Agrippa, all of these guys have to die. They have to die. Yeah, I wish there was a fourth option where all of them can die. Because clearly Agrippa, or should I say Wyra, Wyra, he is enjoying his life in the alternate universe. After what he has done in the current universe, or the universe where Daniel exists in. How many people have suffered? How many people have died just so that they could enter into this different universe? You know, he's enjoying his life that side after all that he has done here. I wish there was a way for all of them to die. I wish there was a way for the shadow to take all four of them. But unfortunately, we're only given these three options, and I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied with those options. I want them all to die. Because what they've done in this place, it is horrendous. It is truly evil. And yeah, the point where Daniel thinks that he can absolve himself of his actions by killing the mastermind of this entire operation. No. I would have wanted you to be arrested by the local officials or police officers and tried for your actions in this place, and then either sent to jail or to be executed, whichever option the laws provide. That's what I would have wanted, because there's a lot of people who were in this castle, who were murdered, who were tortured. Their family members are looking for them. Some of them were children. No. But yeah, it was, interesting how Daniel decided that the only way that he's going to be able to do, this mission of, killing Alexandra was for him to drink the amnesia potion and, try to start from a different perspective, a different fresh start on how he's going to tackle this entire situation, instead of just, facing up to it with his current memory state, if I can say that. He decided to make sure that his future Daniel would have the information, how he would understand why he's in this place, what has brought him to this place, and why Alexandra needs to die. That is a very elaborate plan that he's made for himself. If it were me and I was in his position, I don't think I would have followed the plans that I have written to myself in the past. I don't think, like, my mind, I question everything. So if I'm telling myself, telling my future self that you should hate so and so, you should kill so and so, I would not do it. I would not do it. I would really be questioning even the handwriting and say, is this really my handwriting? Did I really state this? No, I don't think so. I just wouldn't do it, I think. But yeah, the castle kept Daniel inside because of the supernatural activities inside. So there was no way for him to escape. He had to, he was forced into finding out what's going on in this place. How can he escape from this place? And why is it that he has to kill Alexandra? He was kept in this place. There was no way for him to escape too. And even if he did find a way to escape, the shadow was going to catch up to him and kill him. So yeah, there was no escape for him. In terms of the gameplay, just like Penumbra, I'm not impressed with the gameplay. In terms of not being able to defend yourself. The game mechanics, in terms of your sanity level, the tinder boxes, the oil, the lantern, the darkness, and keeping yourself away from the zombies. Yeah, that all sounds very entertaining and very active and very a very stressful moment, or anxiety-prone moment, if I can say that, where you have to just keep on moving. You have to formulate your plans very fast, in terms of finding the resources that you need, or the information that you're investigating, or the puzzles you're trying to solve. That all has a bit of excitement to it, and it does give this game a very entertaining, look to it, if I can say that. Especially if you're playing to an audience. I think they would like to see you in that state of anxiety, of fear, as you're being chased, or as the darkness is slowly closing upon you because you don't have, the oil or the tinder boxes. So yes, it does have that entertaining aspect to it. It's just that you can't defend yourself, and that really is very vital. It's very important to me. I don't know about other gamers, but to me, I need to have a weapon in my hand to defend myself from these creatures, because there's no way I'm just going to be running around, trying to hide from these creatures. That's not enough for me. I'm not patient like that. I want to face up against my enemies and destroy them. So yeah, the gameplay is really not my cup of tea. But the mechanics, really, they were a very good addition to this game. And the music as well. It added even more of a fear factor to it. The sound bites that you would hear when you're walking around in the castle really also induce a lot of fear and a lot of paranoia in you as you're going deeper and deeper into the castle. But yeah, interesting game. I would not play it, but interesting game. Alright guys, that's it. Thank you again to Alpha Shocker for the request. MandaloreGaming also for creating this review. It's been really good. And that's it. Remember guys, if you want to check out the original video as well as MandaloreGaming's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. If you want to check out my next reaction, which is Amnesia, a Machine for Pigs review, remember that the card is going to be somewhere shown here. The box. Yes, the box will be shown somewhere here. And if you like my reaction, give it a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, bye bye.